I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, gotta get it, no call it quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve. Shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't hit, I don't sleep. When I'm focused on dangerous, they don't wanna when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. What's a family? You do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them nuts. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And woo. Watch how I get it here. Watch how I get it here. Watch how I get it here. Woo.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC Vegas 70. Nikita Krylov, Ryan Spann. We now have 11 fights after losing 2. We lost the Perez-Cohen fight, and then we lost the Armfield-Johnson fight. I had no action on that Perez fight, but I did have a bet on the Johnson Armfield fight. Was actually really looking forward to that one. But yeah, now down to 11 fights. It's a solid card, especially this main card. I really like the main event, the co-main event. We have the return of Tatiana Suarez. I think the Pete Gonzalez fight is going to be fun. The Malat Lioness fight is going to be fun. These prelims, they're a little bit iffy, but I say the card is a big step up from last week. I mean, at the very least, we don't have Zach Pauga, Jordan Wright in the co-main event. We don't have William Knight on the card, so that's just a big step up from last week. So solid card here, but man, next week, UFC 285, I will be there live in person. Really looking forward to that card going there. That card is stacked. And then honestly, like the whole month of March is going to be a phenomenal month of MMA. No more Zach Pauga, Jordan Wright co-main events. No William Knight, Marcin Prachnio fights. The month of March is going to be fire. I'll be going to 285, and then I'll also be going to UFC San Antonio. I think it's March 23rd, 24th, and that is going to be the Corey Sandhagen, Marlon Vera main event. So I'm going to be busy in the month of March, and we're going to have some great fights in the month of March as well. But first, we got to get through this. Before we get into everything, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. It is much, much appreciated. Trying to reach that goal of 20,000 subscribers, hopefully in the very near future. Do appreciate all support week in and week out. Let us check the chat and see what is up before we get into everything. And we are going to start with the first person in the chat is Evan. And he has a question saying, which do you think is better to add to your parlay, Trevor Peek or Nurul Aliyev? Peek lacks strike defense. That is true. But Aliyev is going to have a huge step up in competition. I would not recommend parlaying any of them. The only, I want to say parlay pieces I'd feel safe about would be like a Joe Solecki or Tatiana Suarez. But even them are like, Suarez is now like minus 800. Solecki's minus 600. I wouldn't really parlay any of these money lines, to be honest. Like, especially not Peek or Aliyev. I definitely wouldn't parlay like a Mike Malat. I don't know. I'd stay away from the parlays this week in terms of the money lines. A lot of these fights, like you can make a case for a lot of these dogs this week. This card should have a lot of finishes. I agree, especially that main card. I think it's a very violent main card. Both could be risky. I think they're both risky. I think they both win, but I think they both bring some risk to them. We got Sean in the chat. What is up, Sean? Aliyev to win by submission? Nah. If it would be by decision or maybe a TKO. I don't think he has a submission on his record. Yeah, he doesn't. No, I was not doing that. Eddie's saying, I'm killing it in my fantasy league with your help, Brady. There you go. Good to hear, Eddie. Hopefully you keep that up. I'm trying to kill it in some fantasy tomorrow on some Draftkings, hoping for a big win tomorrow. Just redid all my lineups. Had to redo them all because we lost the Armfield fight, but I'm feeling pretty good about some Draftkings tomorrow. Every fight is different. That is true. You're talking about the Rafael fight. You're putting your entire bankroll on Jake Paul. Yeah, I see a lot of people putting their entire bankrolls on Jake Paul. Best of luck with that. I'm going to try to catch the fight, but I don't know if I'll be betting on it. I do not hate anybody. We got Josh in the chat. What is up? Sean saying AJ for MMA experts. Yeah, I know AJ been on a heater with this lock of the week. That is great. And he has Dontel Mays this week. Not sure what Brady is seeing with complete dust and Sakai. Just for anybody to be confident in that fight is not the best idea. That is probably one of the worst fights on the card, and it's on the main card. So I mean, I have a bet on the fight, but I will not be placing a bet on either Dontel Mays and Sakai. And I recommend probably nobody doing that as well. We'll talk about why. And I'm saying, good God, Sean, because how could anybody be confident in Dontel Mays? The guy's atrocious. We got Tristan in the chat. What is up, Tristan? Why is everyone so high on Dontel in this fight? I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it either. But I think they're trying to fade Sky since he's on a 4-fight skid. We got Victor in the chat. What is up, Victor? How you doing? Mays is gonna F up Sakai. Yeah, a lot of Mays love. A lot of talk of that fight in general, which is it's weird. Like everybody loves talking about like the worst fight on the card. Like a lot of strong opinions on that fight. My strong opinion is it's a pretty low level fight on the main card. I saw Mushroom in the chat. What's up, Mushroom? How you doing? I did not get a chance to watch your debut on your channel, but I will probably tonight. If you have not already, guys, go check out Mushroom MMA on YouTube. He did a debut prediction. I'll be checking that out tonight, Mushroom. We got Samuel. What is up, Samuel? Saying, what's up, Brady? Let's make some money this weekend. That is the goal. That is the goal. Peak Muniz or locks. I like both to win. I don't know if I'd say either a lock. So we got Nicholas in the chat. What is up, Nicholas? Levitt's gonna make his title run. I don't know about that, but I think he can make a win here. All right, guys. Before we get into it, I do want to say that I'm going live tomorrow. So the prelims as of now are like at 4, but I'm guessing they're going to move them back an hour. So they might be at 5, but I'll be going live 1 hour prior to the prelims with it's Cody. It is Johnny. And then it is, I believe, Billy Briz. So I think we have a solid show tomorrow. So check that out. And then also the betting breakdown video will be out early tomorrow morning, 6:30 in the morning. That's when it's scheduled for. Follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'm doing a ton of content on Instagram, pretty much a video out there every day on Instagram. And I'm also on that TikTok nowadays as well, just doing extra content. All right. They're at 4:30, so we'll probably go live at 3 or 3:30 then. Thanks, Victor. You think there's more submissions than TKOs? I could see a lot of these fights can be subs. Like Suarez can get a sub, Muniz can get a sub, Malak could get a sub, Levitt could get a sub, Selecki could get a sub. Like there could be a lot of subs tomorrow, so that's gonna be interesting. All right, I say we get into it, guys, and we're going to start with the first fight on the card, and we have Nurullo Aliev going against Rafael Alves. So from a betting perspective, it's a fight that I'm going to stay away from. But I think there's some spots that really stick out depending on which side you're on. Like if you're on Nurullo Aliev, a bet that I do like on FanDuel Sportsbook, they have the round 3 or decision, and it's sitting at plus 180 on there, which, you know, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Like Rafael Alves, he has been finished 10 times, but Nurullo Aliev, he's not much of a finisher. I could see like maybe like a late finish for Nurullo Aliev if Alves does completely gas out. And that's why I kind of like that 3rd round or decision. And that's plus 180 on FanDuel. So that's how I would play it if I was on the Aliev side. If I was on the Rafael Alves side, though, I would look at like a scorecards, no action. I would look at like an inside the distance, maybe a 1st round prop. But I like Aliev here. I think he wins this fight. But he's going to have to survive that 1st round. Alves is extremely explosive, has a ton of power on the feet, a very dangerous submission game. And Aliev's not really proven. He's not really fought the best competition. So it's going to be a tough 1st round for him, I think. But once it gets past the 1st round, I think it's smooth sailing from there. I think he probably wins a decision, maybe a late finish there. From a DraftKings perspective, that's where I'm going to have most of my exposure on this fight. 8,800 for Aliev. If he wins, I think it's a fight where he mixes in takedowns, control time. What I like about Aliev is he's not a guy that's going to go out there and just hold you down to do nothing, wait for the ref to stand you up. He's going to go out there, he's going to land ground and pound, and his ground and pound is pretty solid. Like he's beating these guys up, he's cutting them up on the mat. And I think he could, like I said, I think the late TKO's live, but I think the takedowns are going to rack up, the control time and the strikes on the mat, that's all going to rack up. And at 8,800, I think he puts in a very good score and a win here. On the flip side, you got to have some Rafael Alves because his path to victory is a 1st round finish, whether it's a knockout, a club and sub, a submission. Alves is super dangerous early on. But the problem is it's early on. He doesn't have a great gas tank to carry that into the second to the third round. So a fight that I do like quite a bit on DraftKings, but from a betting perspective, I'm just going to pass on this one. But the pick is going to be Aliev to get it done. Oh yeah, it's gonna be sweaty. Because Rafael Alves, this guy is a killer be killed fighter. I mean, he has like 10 finished losses, so that's why I kind of like that round 3 decision. Oh, mushrooms right there with me. Round 3 decision, just to cover that extra round, because I could definitely see like a late TKO. What's up, Brady? Hit the gym today? Yes, I did. I did like a pretty good workout, hour 30. Got my workout. It's all done, so I can kind of relax. And I got to start looking into 285. I'm gonna try to get ahead tonight for that. Let's go. What is up, Magic Shrooms? I live in a fantasy only state. The drafts are tough. You talk about DraftKings? He's gonna miss and get taken down. Yeah, I think he gets taken down here. I read Alves was recovering from his broken hand again. That's not good. That's not good. And I agree. Weather the storm there. And there's going to be a storm for sure in that first round. All right. Let us move on to the next fight. Then we have Joe Selecki going against Carl Deaton III. I do have a bet here. And I do like Selecki on DK to an extent. I think it's a tough debut for Carl Deaton III here on short notice. He was preparing for a fight, so I'm not completely worried about him not coming in here, not being in shape or anything like that, but he's going to be taking a really big step up in competition. We saw at the weigh-ins today that Deaton's very undersized. On paper, Selecki has a 3-inch height advantage. You could see it, during the face-offs. Selecki's going to be much bigger here. And not only is Selecki going to be much bigger, I think he's going to have a significant grappling advantage as well. I've seen Deaton taken down. I've seen him put in bad spots. He's able to work out a lot of those bad spots. But in terms of the grappling here, I think Deaton's a good grappler. It's just in terms of the grappling, Selecki's going to be on a completely different level than him. And on top of that, with the size as well, I think he'll have no problem taking this fight down to the mat. And when he does, it should be Selecki. I think he subs him here. Deaton is tough. He's only been subbed once, but he's not fought Joe Selecki, right? This is going to be the best grappler he's fought by a mile. Deaton fought Justin James a couple fights ago and he won that fight, and that's great, but Joe Selecki's not Justin James. I think it's going to be a very tough fight for him. So I like Selecki here. I like him inside the distance. I'm taking a look at the inside the distance line now for Selecki. So this is how I played it. So they had on Bet Rivers the fight to end by submission at plus 107. And then I saw Selecki to win by submission was plus 114. I just took the fight to end by sub just because I don't see it happening, but Deaton has finished 53% of his wins by submission, so it wasn't much of a difference. I took the fight to end by sub, half a unit, plus 107. Was thinking about maybe Selecki inside the distance, but that's like minus 130, minus 150 now. Selecki by sub in general is still like plus 115, plus 114. So like I said, I just took that fight to end by submission at plus 107. I think it's a Selecki sub, though. I think it comes early. Selecki in the first round is only plus 230. I would just take the sub or the inside the distance for Selecki, though. But if you can get that fight ends by sub around the same price as Selecki by sub, I think that's probably the way to go. But yeah, I think it's a good fight for Selecki. In terms of DraftKings, though, I'll have some Selecki. I think he does finish this fight, but I'm kind of more interested in somebody else around his price range. Hint, hint, Tatiana Suarez. So I'm not going to get to a ton of Selecki. But I think he's solid. But I'm really interested in Tatiana Suarez this week, who's 200 more. So I gotta kind of pick one or the other in a lot of my lineups, and it's gonna be Suarez all day there. As far as Deaton, I'm not getting to him. I think it's a rough matchup for him. Joe Selecki minus 600 for a reason. I think he takes him down and submits him here pretty early. So give me Joe Selecki for the win. Joe Selecki by sub. The bet is that half unit shot on the fight to end by submission. All right. When is that fight? Is that fight in 2 weeks from now? Romanov minus 114 versus Volkov. Is that a 5-round fight? I forget what the main event is for that card. I think it might be a 3-round fight, right? How much time a week do you take breaking down the fights? Like the tape? So typically all day Sunday, and then I try to get some done during the week. So if I had to take a guess, it'd be anywhere from 12 to maybe 20 hours. Depending on if they're like newcomers or whatever happens. But yeah, it's a lot. Like I spend all day from when I wake up Sunday to stat diggers. So it's like at least 12 to 15 hours at the very least. I select your first round submission. I agree with that. Appreciate you, Forrest. What's up, Gus? How you doing? Ben saying Aliev, Peak, Johnson, Malott parlay. It's gonna be tough to hit those money line parlays this week, but I think it does hit, but I don't know. I just don't know if I can trust Joe to get finish. Yeah, I mean he should finish this guy though, right? Deaton's haircut is atrocious. Yeah, probably one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen. Um, which is crazy to say that on a card where there's a ton of bad haircuts. Like Jose Johnson had a questionable haircut. Of course, Charles Johnson has a very questionable haircut. And there's someone else that has a bad haircut as well on this card. Lots of bad haircuts on this card, but Deaton's haircut definitely takes the cake in terms of being the worst haircut I've really ever seen. So Lucky Sub already played it for half a mushroom lunch. I like it. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. I took more Selecki than Malott. Yeah, I think I have a little bit more Malott, but I think they're both solid plays. Odds are just ugly. -600. Yeah, I mean, not much you can do with the -600. You got to pick whether Selecki wins by decision or sub. I lean sub there. I was picking up what you were putting down, Mushroom. That's awesome. All right, let us move on to the next fight. We have Charles Johnson going against Ode Osborne. Nothing here for me. I think it's a solid fight for Charles Johnson, but I think it's going to be competitive. I don't like the -170. Charles Johnson's a kind of a slow starter, kind of works his way into the fight where it's the complete opposite for Ode. Ode typically his best round is in the first round. So I could see maybe a live betting situation where Ode has success early, but kind of tapers off as the fight goes on, kind of slows down. And that's where Johnson gets better and better. So I see Ode potentially having success in the first round, maybe even winning the first round. But as the fight goes on, I do expect Johnson to get better and better. So maybe like a live bet situation on the Johnson side. But other than that, I don't know if I like the -170 there. So the over-under opened up at -160, I think, to the over on Bet Online. And I was very tempted to play that. Just because, Charles Johnson, the guy's next level durable. He's not some like murderous power puncher like a Manel Cop or a Tyson Nam. I think Johnson probably wins this by decision. So I thought the over 1.5 made a lot of sense at -160, but it got hammered throughout the week. It's now -220. I don't love that as much anymore. Don't mind some shots on the over 2.5, but I just don't like playing overs, to be honest. But if you like an over here, it makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, the pick's Charles Johnson. From a DraftKings perspective, though, it's a different story. On DraftKings, they have Charles Johnson like 9,000, which I want nothing to do with. I don't see him going out there and getting takedowns. I don't really see him finishing this fight, at least early. If he does finish it, it's probably like a late third round finish. And at 9,000, there's just so many better plays up there, like a Mike Malott, Tatiana Suarez, Joe Selecki, so on and so forth. So I'm staying away from Charles Johnson on DraftKings. Ode Osborne, though, at 7,200, like this could be a close fight. If he's able to pull this off at 7,200, that's going to help a lot in terms of salary savings. And he does probably have the early finish upside here in this matchup. So I don't mind some Ode Osborne at this price tag. He's 7,200 on DraftKings, but on the money line, he's only like +140. So I think there's a lot of value there for Ode Osborne on DraftKings. So that's kind of how I'm playing it. Going to take some shots on Ode on DraftKings, but from a betting perspective, nothing's really sticking out to me. Going to sit back and watch this one. But DraftKings, give me some Ode Osborne, just due to the price tag there. Charles Johnson, TKO or decision? I would lean more so decision. But I could see like a late TKO. Again, like a Johnson third round or decision could be something to look at. Johnson by decision in general is wow. Oh, it's like +230, +250. That's kind of weird. But yeah, maybe like the round 3 decision, something solid there. A sketchy fight pass. I agree. Lean Johnson by decision. Osborne is wild and gasses out. Yeah, early on, I think Osborne can have some success, but he's a dude that typically doesn't see the second round. I think there was at one point where Osborne had like 9 or 10 fights in a row finish in the very first round. So yeah, I think when the fight does get extended, it does favor Johnson. That's why a live bet might be the way to go here. Glenn saying draw. I see a draw bags may be in play. Hey, you never know. Maybe that would be a really good call there. +6,600 for that draw, Glenbot. Johnson third round decision. Already played it for a full mushroom lunch. Mushroom, do you know what the line is on that Johnson third round decision? That could be something I might be a little bit interested in rather than laying that -170. What did we miss on Narillo? Nothing. If you like Narillo, I think the round 3 decision on FanDuel is the way to go. Plus 180. I'm not playing it. I'm gonna sit back and watch that one, but that's kind of how I'd lean if I was forced to bet it. Yep. Whether that early storm that Ode brings, I agree. Whether that early first, win that second and third. All right, guys. We'll move on to the next fight. We have Jordan Levitt going against Victor Martinez. Very interesting fight here. Striker versus grappler matchup. As you may or may not know, I'm not the biggest fan of Jordan Wright, but I'm actually picking him here. The reason being is I went and watched all the tape on Martinez, and I swear, like every fight of Martinez I watched, I saw him get taken down. Like every single fight, he's getting taken down. Not only like one, like multiple times, he's getting taken down. The takedown defense does not look good. On top of that, pretty much every single fight I watched, the dude's giving up his back nonstop. He's getting put into bad spots on the mat. Levitt, I believe he has a wrestling background, but Levitt should be able to take this guy down. And once he gets him down, Levitt's grappling is really good. That's his bread and butter. So a striker versus grappler matchup where Levitt should have the advantage on the mat. If Levitt's not able to get the takedown, of course, it's going to be Victor Martinez out-voluming him. But I think Levitt does get these takedowns. And when he does, I think he's going to have opportunities to find that submission. So I'm playing Jordan Levitt inside the distance. Got it at plus 200 on Bet365. I think it's still there. Just because the sub price was like the same. I mean, it was like was like plus 2 something, like plus 210s. Inside the distance was like plus 200. I took the plus 200 for the inside the distance just in case there's like a TK. There's not much of a difference in price, right? But it's probably going to be submission. Jordan Levitt's not knocking out anybody unless you're handsome Matt Wyman. So I'm taking the shot. I don't hate the Levitt money line even. You know what? It's moved a little bit. He was plus money for a while. Looks like money's came in on Levitt. It's now a straight pick 'em. But if you could get Levitt on at plus money, I don't hate that. Just because he has a path to victory here. I debated maybe playing like the under 2.5 or like the fight doesn't go to decision, but it's like minus 190, minus 230. So I'm going to stay away from that. I'm just going to go Levitt inside the distance, half a unit, plus 200, hoping Levitt can go out there and cash a ticket for me. I tend to pick against this guy, to be honest, but I think this is a matchup where I see him getting the fight down to the mat. And when he does, the sub attempts are going to be there. It's going to be live. So give me Levitt inside the distance there. From a DraftKings perspective, I think it's a really good fight to target here. Especially after losing that Armfield Johnson fight. Not a ton sticking out in the mid-range. We lost the Cowan and Perez fight as well. I'm not too interested in the Mays Sakai fight for DraftKings. So this is a fight I'm going to be pretty heavy on DraftKings because I think if Victor Martinez wins, it means that he was able to stuff the takedowns. He was able to keep it on the feet. And on the feet, Martinez, he doesn't have like a ton of power, but he has a ton of volume. And I think that could add up. And on the flip side, if Levitt was to win this fight, takedowns, submission upside, control time upside. So I think it's a really good fight to target on DraftKings. I do lean Levitt. I do have more ownership on the Levitt side, but I have some Martinez as well, just in case Levitt's not able to get those takedowns. So I love this fight in terms of a GPP fight. And then the bet is going to be Levitt inside the distance, half a unit, plus 200. Let's get it done, Levitt. Let's get the fight down to the mat and sub this guy. All right. Levitt sub already played it for half a mushroom lunch. I like it. I am right there with you on this one. Glenbot saying me too. Forrest saying Aliev, Levitt, and Span is my $100 parlay this week, and that'd be a big hit there. Big hit there. The only worry would probably be Span, right? I think Levitt should be able to get it done, and Aliev as well. Levitt be twerking on him. Maybe we'll have to see. You accidentally said Jordan Wright instead of Levitt, did I? But it's okay. Last week's card is still haunting all of us. Yeah, that William Knight performance has been haunting me the past several days. Every time I close my eyes, I just see William Knight standing there doing nothing. We'll never forget that performance by William Knight, ever. We'll talk about that Brendan Allen fight in a little bit. 100 on Levitt hitting the splits after he wins. Yes, if he wins, you better expect some splits. All right, let us move on to the next fight. Okay, we have Gabriela Fernandez going against Jazz the Vicious. Yeah, not much here. I mean, we got another striker versus grappler matchup on the feed. It's going to be Fernandez all day. On the mat, it's going to be Jazz Vicious. We saw at the weigh-ins today. Jasmine's big. Like Jasmine's going to have a pretty big height advantage. On paper, it only says 1 inch, but she looked a lot bigger than that. And I think she's going to use that size. Gabriela Fernandez, she can be taken down, and once she is taken down, she typically does not get back up. So I think Jasmine can use her size, get this fight down to the mat, and win minutes. Do I want to bet on her? No, not really. But I think people are kind of down on her after she lost as a massive favorite her last time out. I think she's like minus 350, something like that last time against Natalia Silva. So the people are really low on Jasmine, but this is a fight where if she does get the fight down at the match, she can absolutely win it. But again, I don't want to bet this fight. From a DraftKings perspective, though, I will have some Jasmine. I think she has takedown upside. Like I said, Fernandez, when she gets taken down, she doesn't have much of an answer in terms of getting back up. Jasmine's going to be the bigger fighter. So for DraftKings, I don't mind some Jasmine, Jazz the Vicious. Not going to touch a ton of Fernandez, if any at all. I guess Fernandez could potentially knock her out, I suppose, but don't really think it's all that likely. So give me Jasmine on DraftKings, if anything, but don't have a ton of interest in this fight. I do want to see where the line is at, though. We have Jasmine as the dog, like plus 110. Fernandez minus 130. Yeah, I'm okay. Gonna pass on that one. Levitt by Teabag choke. I could see it. My God, that William Knight. Oh, yeah, it was bad. It was very bad. I'm gonna live a little this weekend and do a prop parlay. Can you suggest one? I actually have 2 prop parlays that I'll go over at the end. Over 1.5, 10 out of 10. Okay, 100% in their last 5 fights. The over 1.5 could be a potential parlay piece for this fight, and that is currently sitting at like minus 450 chalky, but I would be fairly surprised if this fight did finish under 1.5 rounds. Jasmine had trouble taking down Little K Hansen in the first exchange. Kind of worries me here. Yeah, I don't think Jasmine's that great, but it's a close fight. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll find out real soon who wins this fight. Like if Jasmine's not able to take down Fernandez, it's going to be Fernandez is going to look like a massive favorite. But I have a feeling she does take her down. But we'll see. No money on it for me. Can't wait for next week. Yeah, me too. Me too. Said a year ago I would put a paycheck on John if he comes back. That's a lot of people look like you're putting some money on it because John Jones moved from like a dog to like minus 150 at the moment. So lots of money on John Jones. I don't know about that, Martin, but yeah, it was a bad performance by Mr. Knight. Okay, moving on. This was supposed to be the main card opener. It is now the featured prelim because we lost a couple fights, but yeah, really looking forward to this fight. Probably the most exciting fight on the card. We got Trevor Peek going against Eric Gonzalez, and man, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be an absolute car crash. Trevor Peek fights like a complete wild man. No regards for his own safety. No regards for any striking defense whatsoever. No regards for any technique whatsoever. He wants to go in there and he wants to take your head off. I think the obvious play here is the under. I have 1 unit on the under 1.5 rounds, minus 115. That line has moved a little bit throughout the week. You can still get it around like the minus 165, minus 160. So a little chalky, but I think these guys are going to go to war early. I think it's going to be a car crash. Both guys lack striking defense. Like Eric Gonzalez has no striking defense in his own right, and Peek probably has even worse striking defense. Both guys solid finishers. I think Peek knocks out Gonzalez though. But laying minus 220 on Trevor Peek, I don't know about that because I mean he's so hittable. But he does have power. He does have heart. And like I said, he's looking to go out there and just take your head off, which I like about that. But I don't know if I'm going to touch that Peak money line. I think violence is the way to go. And that's why we see money just pouring in on these fight doesn't goes. So I also do have the fight doesn't go to decision in a parlay. I'll talk about my 2 parlays at the end, but I think violence is the way to go in this matchup. I think somebody's getting served here in this matchup. I lean towards Trevor Peek doing that serving and doing it in the very first round and doing it by knockout. I like the power he has, and Eric Gonzalez has been knocked out before by Jim Miller. So I expect that to happen again. From a DraftKings perspective, this is just a fight you want to target. Trevor Peek, 8,900. If he wins, I think it's probably a first round knockout. Eric Gonzalez, I think I heard in an interview, he was talking about maybe going to the grappling here, which I think would be interesting. He predicted a TKO win, which I think would be interesting. But I like I said, I lean towards Trevor Peek by knockout. So 8,900 for Trevor Peek. I like him a lot on DraftKings. One of my favorite plays. But I think Eric Gonzalez is going to go extremely low owned. I think really nobody's going to be on Gonzalez this week. So for that reason, I will have some Gonzalez, but I'll have much more Trevor Peek there. But yeah, Gonzalez is not a bad dog at 7,300 just because Trevor Peek, I mean, some of the worst striking defense you ever see. He relies on his chin. He has a solid chin, but my goodness, the dude just has no striking defense to speak of whatsoever, which is awesome. I like that. I think it's fun, but I will be taking some shots on Gonzalez on DK at that price tag. Peak is the parlay buster. Yeah, lots of people on Peak this week. Lots of hype on the guy. Lots of people down on Gonzalez. I wouldn't be laying minus 220 on him, but I think he wins. Gonzalez just isn't very good. Rewatched that McKinney fight today. It's a completely different matchup. McKinney took his back and choked him out, right? I mean, Peak's not doing none of that. Fight doesn't go in the Krilla fight. Just dropped to minus 1,400. Yeah, it makes sense to me. People are putting that fight doesn't go in their parlays, which is what I did as well earlier in the week. That's Gonzalez's only time knocked out in 21 pro fights. So I have a suspicion that Peak does land harder than Jim Miller, though. That was not a good look getting knocked out by Jim Miller. Peak first round KO. I agree. Mushroom saying Peak KO. Peak under 1.5. I agree with that. No. 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 I'm not parlaying anything in that Mesa Kai fight, but you got the first one right. But no, I'm not parlaying anything in that Mace fight. That's for sure. McKinney ate him up on the feet before the takedown. I actually saw Gonzalez have some early success against McKinney on the feet, though. All right. Let's see. We will move on to the next fight. Another banger. Looking forward to this. We got Mike Malott going against Johan Lioness. And another one where, man, I would just be very careful, with the money line parlays this week. We have Malott like minus 205, minus 230. Like, he should be the favorite just because he's the better fighter. I think that's clear. He has more ways to win. I think he could knock out Lioness. I think if this fight hits the mat, he subs him pretty easily. Like, Mike Malott has a lot of power on the feet, and his submission game's incredible. It's just Mike Malott. There's just not a lot of footage on him. I mean, he's fought very rarely ever. I mean, this guy never fights. He never leaves the first round. He's been out of the first round once in his entire career. That was back in 2015. The guy has 8 wins, 8 first-round finishes, and it's awesome when he fights. It's just he never does. On the feet, he does leave a lot of openings to be hit. He is pretty hittable. He's been knocked out in his only loss, but you got to go Malott here just because Lioness, I don't know. Lioness has one good quality that I like about him, and that's the power. And that could be enough here. It's just the cardio for Lioness is not good. The volume was just atrocious in Lioness's last fight. He will mix in takedowns, but he's not going to want to take down Malott here. I think Malott either knocks him out in the first round. I could see a club and sub. If Malott takes down Lioness in his own right, I think he could sub him there. So I like Mike Malott to win this fight in the first round. But again, the play for me is that under 1.5 rounds. So I got it at plus 125. The line has moved throughout the week. It's now like minus 115. I think the under is the way to go. Mike Malott, like I said, never sees the second round. He's only done it once. And Lioness, when he wins fights, it's typically in the first round by knockout. I know in the last fight he won decision, but I thought he lost that fight clear as day. I mean, I had a bet on Weeks by decision, and maybe I'm a little bit biased, but even going back, I thought Weeks probably won that fight. So I don't know. But yeah, I think this fight ends pretty early here, under 1.5 rounds. And then I also did parlay up that fight doesn't go to decision earlier in the week, but more money's pouring in on that fight doesn't go. And, as you can see why. I mean, both these guys, super dangerous. So yeah, give me Mike Malott to win this fight, win inside the distance. From a DraftKings perspective, I think it's a must target. If Lioness wins, it's probably a first round knockout. And then, of course, Malott has that first round upside in his own right. Another great fight to target. Like this Malott Lioness fight, and then the Peak Gonzalez fight, I'm going to have a ton of. And then, of course, the main event. I think those are 3 just borderline must target fights on this card. But yeah, the picks Malott, Malott to win this fight early in the first round. McKinney's overrated. I like McKinney, but yeah, he was probably getting a little bit overrated. And that is a very valid worry there, Jose. Very valid worry because Lioness has one good quality, and that's the power. And I think Malott's going to give him opportunities. You can't count on Malott's cardio either. Yeah, you can't count on either guy's cardio, especially Lioness. We know for a fact Lioness has bad cardio, whereas with Malott, we don't know because we've seen him out of the first round once. Malott inside the distance. I like Lioness here. I don't hate it. Don't hate the shot, I suppose. But if I was to bet Lioness, I'd bet him round 1 KO. Holy moly is the main event fight as it goes like minus 1400. Yeah, we'll talk about that fight. Which 3 fights, Brady, to target on DraftKings? That's that main event. It's the Malott Lioness fight. It's the Pete Gonzalez fight. I think those fights are borderline must target. If Span gets it done in round 1 KO or sub, more likely, I'd lean sub, but the guy has a lot of power. But yeah, if Span wins, it is probably in round 1. All right. 190 of you in here. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash that like button. Let's try to get those likes up. Also, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, me, Blood Money, and Johnny K Picks, and then Billy Briz will be going live 1 hour prior to the prelims tomorrow for best bets. So make sure you are subscribed so you not miss out on that. Cannot wait for that show and cannot wait to see how those guys do and see how this year kind of shakes out with the best bet. Right now, we got Lou Becci in first. I'm in second, and then I think third might be, Gordo. So, yeah, it's been a fun competition so far. Okay, we'll move on. We have Tatiana Suarez going against Montana De La Rosa. Really looking forward to the return of Tatiana Suarez. Have been waiting for it for 3 years and 8 months. It's been a while since we've seen Suarez. And yeah, I like Suarez here quite a bit. There are some question marks. Nigel, I didn't see you say anything. I mean, you're talking to Glenbot. If you want me to pull up a comment, just type a comment. You were literally typing to Glenbot. So yeah, I'm not gonna. And then you're talking to here. What comment am I ignoring? Anyway, I'll bring up your comment, but you were talking to somebody else. Anywho, yeah. So I have a bet here. I have the fight doesn't go to decision, 1 unit plus 120. And it's because the fight doesn't go, and Tatiana Suarez inside the distance was like about the same price. I might as well take the fight doesn't go. It has moved a little bit, but it's still plus money. The fight doesn't go is currently plus 105, plus 100. And that's kind of how I'm attacking it. Just because it's hard to be super confident in Suarez here. But if she shows up and looks anything like she did against, say, Carla Esparza 4 years ago, she runs through Montana De La Rosa like a hot knife through butter. It's not even going to be close. Suarez, if that same Suarez shows up or anywhere close to it, she's on a completely different level than Montana De La Rosa. So I'm kind of banking on Suarez showing up here and looking half the fighter she was 4 years ago. If she looks half the fighter, she beats Montana De La Rosa. I'm not saying she's made improvements over the 4 years off. I don't think that's... maybe she did, but I mean, she's battled a ton of injuries over the past several years. So I'm just hoping she comes back, not saying 100%, but I'm hoping close to it. And if she comes back close to 100%, I think she rolls through Montana De La Rosa, second round TKO, gets on top, and eventually finishes the fight. So yeah, Suarez inside the distance, I think is a good look, but I took the fight doesn't go just because there wasn't much of a difference at all between the price. You never know. Maybe Suarez comes in, maybe she gets hurt in the fight. You never know. Just want to cover that as well. So 1 unit, fight doesn't go to decision, plus 120. On DraftKings, I have a ton of Suarez. Forget the exact amount, but she is my highest owned fighter. And that's because she just has a huge, huge ceiling. Like if she shows up and looks anything like she did 4 years ago, she puts up 150 here probably, right? So gonna have a ton of Suarez. I know she's expensive, but I think the price is going to be well worth it. And I think she finishes Montana De La Rosa on Saturday. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing Suarez back in there. Really looking forward to seeing how she looks after such a long layoff. But if she shows up and looks good, I think she smashes here and puts a massive score. So love her for DraftKings, love her inside the distance. Of course, you can't really parlay the minus 800, but I'd be really surprised if she didn't win this fight. I mean, if she didn't win this fight, it'd have to be due to her either like getting hurt or her showing up and just I don't know. I'd be very surprised if Montana De La Rosa was able to pull off this fight. So she's minus 800 for a reason. She's not fought in 4 years and she's still minus 800. That tells you a lot there. All good, Nigel. All good. Rather pay down for Selecki than have a 9,600 fighter. I'm the complete opposite way. Sean saying Boofy also the 96 fighter has only been optimal 3 out of 18 times. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I tried to fade what's his face because he was 9,600 the other week. It didn't work out. Jalton Almeida. I think there are some exceptions, Sean, and my goodness, Tatiana Suarez, she's got to be an exception, right? TKO, why do you think it's more likely? I mean, it could be a sub, whatever she wants. I could see like a TKO where the ref steps in, a sub. I mean, you got to go inside the distance. I wouldn't pick one or another. Yeah, KO or sub or KO decision, more safer double chance. I would take the KO or sub personally because I could see a sub. But De La Rosa is, I want to say, she's a good grab. I don't know. I just think Suarez on another level. Suarez moved up in weight. Do we know why? Probably the layoff, but she's going back down to 115 after this fight. Oh boy. We have some Mays talk. Yeah, a lot of people like Dontel Mays. Mays by decision only if he wrestles, but like if he does, oh man, what a terrible fight. Yes is the steal. Where can I get that line? Let me know where I can get that line, and I will be betting that. Mark Costa. Just let me know. All right. Women's MMA. Yeah, it is. But man, Suarez is like high level though. Like she's world class. I mean, at least she was 4 years ago. So we'll see. And yeah, she's a really good grappler. All right. So we'll move on to the people's main event, Augusto Sakai versus Dontel Mays. And it's so weird. We have a lot of great fights on this card, but this is the fight that everybody's talking about. Oh my gosh. What a mess. So I do have a bet here, but the line is completely gone. On Monday, they opened up the under 2.5 rounds at plus 140 for some reason. I actually slept in on Monday a little bit, and I woke up and I missed the majority of the lines, but that line didn't move at all. And it was sitting at plus 140 for a while. And I was like, why isn't this line moving? It makes no sense. I mean, Sakai, I think like all but 2 of his fights have ended inside that distance in the UFC. And then as far as Mays, I think it's all but 2 as well. Both these guys are solid finishers. Both these guys have been finished a lot. So I took a 1-unit shot on the under 2.5 rounds. And then shortly after, that line just got completely smashed. And it's came back a little bit. I still think the under 2.5 is around minus 125. I think violence or pass on this one for me. Because how can you really trust either guy? Sakai's 0-4 in his last 4 fights. Knocked out in those 4 fights, but he's fighting actual good guys. Whereas I don't think Dontel Mays is an actual good guy, like qualifies as a good fighter. So he got knocked out by Sergey Spivak, TKO. I think we can maybe forgive him for that. He got knocked out by Tai Tuivasa. I think we can forgive him for that. Rosenstruck, we can forgive him. Overeem, we can forgive him. All 4 of those guys beat Mays in 30 seconds. So I don't know, but at the same time, how can you trust Sakai, who he's been knocked out 4 times? How's his chin? Where's his confidence at? Now on a 4-fight losing streak. So it's hard to be confident in Sakai, but it's definitely hard to be confident in Mays. Like Mays has shown the ability to wrestle in one fight only. In like a massive, the dude has how many fights? Mays has 13 fights. He's shown the ability to wrestle in one of those fights, and that fight was against Josh Parisian. Like, how am I supposed to? How can it's Josh Parisian? I have a feeling Sakai is better than Josh Parisian. Just a funny feeling, but I don't know. I mean, nobody should be confident in this fight. Nobody probably should be betting this fight, but I'm on that under. It's probably a pass. I mean, the smart move is probably to pass on this fight. I was tempted on Sakai, but I mean, Mays, in all honesty, does have a path to victory, and that is going to be to wrestle. But I don't know. This is a mess, and it's on the main card. This fight's been giving me nightmares all week, to be honest. So I'm probably going to pass on it, other than that under. For DraftKings, full fade. I mean, I guess Sakai can knock Mays out in the first round, but banking he doesn't. Bacon, at least he does it in the second. I guess Mays can wrestle, but I don't know. I doubt it. So I'm fading the fight on DraftKings. Might not even watch the fight, to be honest. Just a terrible, terrible fight on the main card. But yeah, the bet's that under. It's moved. At this point, I'd probably pass. But if you like the under at -125, I don't think it's the worst look in the world, just because you take a look at both these guys, a 70% finish rate combined, and then they get finished a lot. Both these guys have no durability. Mays finished in all 3 losses, 100%. Sakai finished in 4 out of 5. That is a combined 7 out of 8 losses, which is a lot. Both these guys get finished. Both guys not durable. So good luck. Good luck, everybody on Dontel Mays. You're gonna need it because it's Dontel Mays. And on the flip side, good luck on people that are on Sakai, because it's Augusto Sakai, just a complete mess. No, but you said I parlayed it though. I'm on the violence. I didn't parlay it though. But yeah, you were right. That is the spot I am on. Hope Mays, Pillow Fist, KOs, Chinny Sakai. Mays has some. I mean, these guys are heavyweights, right, Daz? I mean, Mays has some power. He almost knocked out that Hamdy dude. So a Mays knockout wouldn't shock me at all, especially considering Sakai's been knocked out a ton. I think that both should be cut probably. Mays has John Jones behind his back. Yeah, Mays has been training with John Jones. That is true. If Mays displays the same fight IQ where he let Hamdy off the hook, I will not feel sorry for anyone that bet Mays. He's not that guy. Yeah, that was one of those fights. Sorry, this fight's making me sick to my stomach. Excuse me. This fight. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I had a half unit bet on Dontel Mays inside the distance, and that was a fight where I wanted to beat my TV up with a baseball bat, just because it was so frustrating in so many ways. I don't know. I mean, it was just a terrible. He almost knocked out Hamdy, which probably made it suck even worse. But you had a half unit shot on Dontel Mays last time out. I don't know why anyone bet these two. It was thinking Sakai first, but then my boy smacked the degenerate out of me. Yeah. I think this fight should probably be passed on. D1 Dontel. The thing is, he did it against Josh Parisian. I'm just not convinced Sakai is as bad as Josh Parisian. We gave Dominic Reyes the benefit of the doubt after his 3 tough losses, and look what he did against Ryan Spann. No correlation to this fight, but I kind of see what you're saying. I'm betting that fight because I like my heart pumping and my hands sweating. If you like your heart pumping and your hands sweating, then there you go. There you go. Brady watched the fighter in the Mays Sakai fight score north of 95 points, and that'd make me sick because I'm not going to have any of it. I think there's much better fights to target, but I guess there could be a first round KO. You can't completely rule that out. Mays versus Sakai, what's more likely for either first or second round? I'd kind of lean the second round myself. I can actually see that. Just because Sakai has no ground game. I would be shocked if Mays wins by KO. Really? Aren't you on Mays? I could see like a TKO. Like Sakai has no idea what to do off his back. Sakai's chin is gone. He'll probably get KO'd even with Mays' pillow fist. Yep. Mays Sakai fight ends in a KO. Probably not the best price, I'd say. I don't know. I haven't checked it, but yeah, nobody's subbing either guy. Yeah, enough of this fight. This fight's terrible. Okay, moving on to an actual fight, an actual good fight. We have Andre Muniz going against Brendan Allen, the co-main event. Really good co-main event here. A fight that I'm just going to sit back and watch. Don't really like anything from a betting perspective. Like, I like Muniz to win the fight, but I don't know if I like that minus 225 or whatever he is, like minus 230. A lot of people on Brendan Allen. I don't know. I've never really been high on really either guy, but I was kind of being a Muniz hater for like a short stretch. At first, I was all over this guy, and then I was like, I don't know if this guy's the real deal. But I'm kind of back on the Muniz train here, at least in this matchup, just because Brendan Allen has showed he could be taken down. He's getting out grappled at times by guys like Jacob Malkoon, guys like Kyle Dawkins, And, I think this fight hits the mat. I'd be kind of surprised if it didn't. Like, if Brendan Allen's to win this fight, he's going to have to stuff takedowns, and I don't think he has the best takedown defense. And on top of that, Muniz, his wrestling's looked really good as of late. He's going out there and landing a lot of takedowns as of late. That wrestling's improving. And I feel like Muniz is going to out-grapple Brendan Allen. I guess the problem with Muniz is the potential cardio. We have seen him slow down before, more specifically in that Ahoyo fight. So maybe he slows down here, but I don't know. I lean Muniz to get the job done, but for not laying minus 220 on the guy. No props sticking out as well. Like, I've seen a lot of people on like the fight goes decision, the overs. I don't know. The fight doesn't goes too juice for my liking. It's just a pass fight for me. On DraftKings, I'll play it though. I think Muniz has wrestling upside, first round sub upside, and I don't mind Brendan Allen at that price tag of 7,100 because if he does win, may even be a knockout potentially. Muniz has been knocked out in his only 4 losses, all by knockout. So DraftKings will have this fight, but from a betting perspective, just nothing sticking out on it. But the pick is going to be Muniz there. Muniz sub, yeah, I think he subs him too, and I think it's round 1. Already played for a half of a mushroom lunch. Muniz to overpower Allen. Muniz got it. Muniz by decision. I could see that. I could see it. It'd be greasy. It'd be sweaty, but I could see it. Muniz by low Allen, fight IQ sub. I like Muniz sub round 2. Yeah, that was funny, man. I remember that like somebody commented down that he's going to Muniz is going to armbar Jacare. He called it. He's like, Muniz is going to armbar Jacare Souza. And I commented back, I said, listen, if Muniz goes out there and armbars Jacare Souza, I will PayPal you $100. And then he did it, and I don't know. I gave the dude the money, and I had to pay like an exchange fee or something. It was like a big fee. It was like $6 fee. So on top of the $100 I owed this guy, I had to pay the fee. Just a rough night at the office that night. Was not expecting Muniz to go out there and break Jacare's arm. So yeah, he made me look like a fool. I don't know if that guy's still around though. Muniz has way more power than Malkoun. Everybody has more power than Malkoun. Brendan Allen says his ego wants him to pull guard. What? He said that? Yeah, Brendan Allen's fight IQ is not the best. Yeah, good luck pulling guard against Andre Muniz. And he was I heard a little bit of his interview, bits and pieces. I did hear him say he wants to test his grappling as well against Muniz, which come on. Muniz has been knocked out 4 times, yes, sir. Allen gives me Julian Erosa, Damon Jackson vibes, gets one impressive win, and then gets smoked the next fight after. He's kind of inconsistent. I think he's okay, though, but this is a kind of a tough matchup for him. Muniz is so much better, but I just can't trust his cardio. Allen may not be very smart, but he's a dog. He is a dog and has better cardio. I'll just enjoy it with no money on it. I feel the same way. Allen by KO is 1,100. That's kind of interesting. I think it moved a little bit. See 850, but I know you're on. I think you're from Australia, right, Daz? So you might have a different book. Yeah, plus 1,100. I wouldn't mind a shot on that. What do you mean? You think Muniz smells terrible? Why would you say that? I don't know. A good man for paying what you owed. Yeah, I had to. He deserved that one. All right. So yeah, we'll move on to the main event. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the likes. They do go a long way. But we have Nikita Krylov going against Ryan Spann. This fight is going to be fun. I don't think it lasts long, but it'll be very, very fun. Both these guys fight like they've been shot out of a can, especially Krylov early on in that first round. And Ryan Spann, kind of the same way. Ryan Spann's not seen a second round in a very long time. I think it's been like 5 or 6 fights since Ryan Spann's seen a second round. The thing I like about this fight is both guys can win by knockout. Krylov has a lot of power on the feet. He has TKO upside as well. And then Ryan Spann obviously has a ton of power on the feet as well. And then both guys can win by sub. Krylov has multiple sub wins on his record, and Ryan Spann actually has more submission wins than he does knockout wins. So not only can both guys win by sub and win by knockout, both guys can be knocked out and both guys can be subbed. I think it's a great violent spot here. There's a reason why this fight doesn't go to decision line has just been smashed hard. minus 1,400 now for the fight doesn't go to decision on DraftKings. Let me double check. And wow, minus 1115 I see, minus 1,000 across the board. So yeah, money pouring in on these violence. So I did get the under 1.5 rounds. I missed the 105, but I got one unit on the under 1.5 at minus 115. That line has been smashed throughout the week now. I think best price is like minus 160. I think the under 1.5 is solid. You want to get even safe for under 2.5. But this is going to close out my 2 parlays that I have. So the 2 parlays I have, I see you in there, Nigel. That's a good subtle dig there. But so the 2 parlays I have 2.5 units. This is my biggest play of the night on a fight doesn't go decision parlay with the Malat Lioness fight doesn't go, and then the Krylov Span fight doesn't go. Came out to minus 169, minus 170, and I have 2.5 units on that. And then my other parlay is going to be Gonzalez Peak fight doesn't go to decision, parlayed with the Krylov Span under 3.5 rounds. I came out to minus 173, 1.5 units. I did bet that on, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure what was up with Bet365 this week. Like typically they're getting lines out like maybe early Tuesday morning, like late Monday night, but they waited an extra day this week. So probably could have even got a better line on that if they would have got lines out on time, but was still able to get the fight doesn't go decision at minus 600 for the Span fight. And that obviously has moved to like minus 800 now on Bet365. So those are my 2 parlays. Malat Lioness fight doesn't go. Krylov Span fight doesn't go. And then Peak fight doesn't go. Parlayed with Krylov Span under 3.5. Obviously on DraftKings, it's a must target fight. You have Krylov who can go out there and land takedowns, finish the fight, obviously. And then on the flip side, Span at 7,500, he can finish the fight wherever he wants, whether it's a submission, whether it's a knockout. Both guys are allowed to finish here. So yeah, I'm about 100% on this fight on DraftKings just because I think this fight does finish early, and I think both guys have paths to finish the fight. So yeah, I love this fight from a violence perspective, from a fan perspective, and from a DraftKings perspective. I'm going to pick Span to win by submission. Krylov's been subbed 6 times, 4 of which in the UFC. Span has a very good submission game. He's won the majority of his fights by submission, actually. You can take a look at it here. I think it's like 55%. 57% of his wins come by submission, and Krylov just makes bad mistakes on the mat. Not only in the Paul Craig fight, but multiple fights. He's sticking his neck out, and I think Span can catch him there, but and Krylov knocking out Span or submitting Span, and that would not shock me at all as well. This fight does get extended, heavily favors Krylov as well. So I think if Span wins, it's got to be round 1. So under 1.5 in those parlay pieces for the main event. I'm very heavily invested in the main event this week. So I'm hoping they go out there and don't pull a Jordan Wright, Zach Palga. I'm hoping Krylov does not go out there and hold Span against the cage for 25 minutes, but that's just not their game. So that's Zach Palga's game. And by the way, what was up with that? What was up with Jordan Wright? He's getting held against the cage, losing minutes, losing the fight, and he's smiling. Like your job's on the line, and you're getting held against the cage, losing the fight, and you're looking up at the camera smiling. Why? Made me, that card last week made me sick. I mean, the night performance, the Wright fight. I mean, it was hard to watch. Like that was a type of card where I wanted to throw my TV into the higher river. It was just a rough main card. That last card is terrible fights besides that main event. But this main card, I think it's going to be a lot more fun. We have Krylov Span, phenomenal main event. Andre Beniz, Brendan Allen, love that co-main event. We got Mike Malat, Lioness is going to be awesome. Tatiana Suarez returns. The Sakai Mays fight is terrible, but really looking forward to this main card and this card. All right, let's see what you guys are saying, and then we will move on to the final bets. Span has no durability. That I can absolutely agree with. He has no durability, and proof of that is that Anthony Smith fight. Can we all put our hands together and pray for Weezy that the Malat Lioness ends under 2.5? Yeah, I believe Weezy has a max bet on that fight doesn't go. He got it at minus 215. It's now like minus 350. So Weezy did his job. Minus 325. So Weezy did his job. He did his job there. Malat KO. Person that I definitely need the mic not to go the distance. Yep. I need it too. I have it in a parlay. Jordan Wright. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. Jordan just has extremely low fight IQ. Yeah, he showed it there. All right, I want to see if I missed anything in the chat, and then we'll head out of here. I noticed Bet365 was late as well. Do they not want my money or not? Yeah, they were late, man. I was like, come on, I want to get these. I want to get these 2 parlays in. I was saying yes, violence. Yep, I think violence and a lot of these fights are the way to go this week, just because a lot of these fights can go either way. Krylov shoots Span Gilly round 1 near guaranteed. Betting Krylov personally though. Yep, you better watch that neck when he's shooting in on Ryan Span. That's for sure. All right, so final bets. Not much on the prelims. The 2 bets I have on the prelim, I have a half a unit on the Selecki D in fight ends by submission plus 107. Like I said, reason being is the Selecki submission prop was not much far off from that, and Deaton has finished about half his wins by sub. So half a unit on that, a half a unit on Levitt inside the distance plus 200. I have 1 unit on the Sakai Maze under 2.5 plus 140. That line's obviously gone now. At this point, I would probably pass on the fight. A lot Lioness under 1.5 plus 125 1 unit. Gonzalez Peak under 1.5 minus 115 1 unit. Krylov Span under 1.5 minus 115 1 unit. Montana De La Rosa Tatiana Suarez fight doesn't go to decision plus 121 unit. I don't mind Suarez inside the distance, but again, there's not much of a difference between price there. Might as well take the fight doesn't go at the same price. Other than that, my 2 parlays to end the night, I have the Malat Lioness fight doesn't go, parlayed with the Krylov Span fight doesn't go. Minus 169, minus 170, 2.5 units on that, my biggest play of the night. And then Krylov Span under 3.5, parlayed with Gonzalez Peak fight doesn't go decision, minus 173, 1.5 units, 10 units in total, 9 bets in total, and I will not be adding anything. If I was to add something, it would probably be a bet on the Sakai Mace fight, and I think it's best to just not do that for not only my bankroll potentially, but for my mental health. Betting on a fight like that, not good for your mental health. And then the other spot I was looking at was like maybe the Martinez Levitt under, but it's like minus 180 now. I'm going to pass on that as well. So those are the bets, and it should be a solid card. Appreciate you, Glenn Bott. I'm scared Muniz doesn't finish. It's possible. Thanks, Brady. Good luck tomorrow, everyone. Good luck to you as well. All right, guys. Thank you all for hanging out. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe on your way out. You can check me out on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. My DMs are always open, even comments, questions, or concerns. And yeah, tune in to Best Bet tomorrow, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Check out the betting breakdown video tomorrow early as well. And I think that's about it. I'm going to start getting into this 285 tape. I'm going to try to get ahead. I have to research 285 and then the next card after that before I go to Vegas. And I'm going to Vegas Saturday morning. So it's going to be a really busy week next week. Got to get ahead a little bit, but it should be a fun time there. All right, guys. Best of luck. I do not have a kick. I did when I was like 13, but do they still have kick nowadays? But no, I do not have a kick, Martin. But guys, best of luck. Talk to you soon. Enjoy the fights and let us win some money for UFC Vegas 70. See you later.